Can you describe where we are or what you see, if anything?
It's like an oasis. Sand, desert around, and a small oasis with birds and trees and a pool.
Okay.
The wind kind of rages around in the sands, but it's very calm in the center of the oasis.
Okay. Do you pick up that Dave's higher self is present?
Yes.
Okay. Or is there any visual that you can give Dave? Or is it just like an energy that you're connecting with?
There is a being, but the image is slightly fuzzy. It's of a male sitting cross-legged on a stone slab at the head of this pool. Old, with a long beard, somewhat scrawny.
Okay.
Has a head covering, but it's not a turban, but it's not a regular hat. It's a cloth to keep the sand off.
Okay. And this is how Dave's higher self is presenting today?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone else joining us? Any of Dave's guides?
There are animals present. There's a bird that's similar to a macaw. It's very prominent, blue and red.
Is this one of Dave's guides?
Yes.
Or his spirit animal?
A guide.
Okay. Are there any other guides that you can tell us about?
There's a monkey.
Is that a guide as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what kind. It's small.
Okay. Are there any other guides present that you can pick up on?
There's quite a few others, but these are the two that have come forth for today. They want to work with him.
Okay.
The others are saying they are always with him, but it is not their time to be in the light.
Okay. So we've got Dave's higher self, the old man, and we've got something like a macaw and some type of monkey. And those are two of Dave's guides.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have permission to speak to Dave's higher self and or to his guides to ask questions on Dave's behalf?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank Dave's higher self and the guides for being here with us today to help Dave get some answers to his questions. So Dave's first question is he wants to know what was the destination of the farthest place that he has ever vacationed. And we're referring to in this lifetime. What's the farthest he has gone to take a vacation in this lifetime?
That's broad. Is it in the physical or the astral?
In the physical. In this lifetime.
The man is showing a map and drawing a circle around the United States. And then he's placed his hand south, east, but he's laid his hand flat. He's not pointing to a specific place.
Okay. So just kind of like a general area southeast of the United States?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see anything regarding the terrain or the population of this area that he went to?
He's pointing to a lot of water.
Okay.
An island, perhaps. I'm getting a visual of a coconut, of a palm tree. I can hear food sizzling.
Like on a grill?
Yes,
Okay.
the smells I'm not familiar with. It's not a cuisine I've smelled before.
Okay.
Drums, music, dancing.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's the Bahamas. It's in that area.
Okay. Well, that sounds very accurate. Because, like I told you, this is the one that he did know the answer to ahead of time. And I'll go ahead and tell you the Philippines was where he went. So, moving on to Dave's next question. He wants to know, what is the best thing that he has ever done in this life?
Best by whose standards?
That's a good question. I think I'm just going to have to guess what he meant. I think he, as far as his plan for his lifetime that he developed before he came here, which he doesn't remember, maybe what's the most positive thing he has done as far as spiritual development?
The old man says his kind and generous heart has touched the lives of many. He's changed the lives of many.
That is true. He's let people live in this house who needed a place to stay. He's very generous. Okay. The next question is about one of our dogs, the black and white one, Candy. He wants to know, why doesn't she snuggle?
Well, that's easy. He's not her favorite. The old man is laughing, and he says she will only snuggle her favorite, but that's not him.
Okay. Dave's next question, is he in danger in any specific way? And I know that's very broad. He's a truck driver, so maybe is there anything he needs to be concerned with regarding his work or anything else, such as health issues or anything like that?
The first thing the old man is saying is he's more in danger of himself than anything external. Self-doubt, worry, and anxiety.
How are those a danger to him?
Because they inhibit his growth. They limit his potential. He spends too much time in that arena.
Yeah, I'd have to say I agree. Do they in any way endanger his physical well-being or health? Like ulcers, things like that?
The self-induced stress is causing some stomach problem.
Okay.
And potentially will cause blood pressure problem. The state of worry could throw off his blood sugar.
Okay. What should he do to remedy that? How can he change his thinking?
Dave needs to know that he is enough just the way that he is. There is nothing wrong or broken within him, and he is perfectly whole.
Okay. Dave's next question is, what is his purpose in this life? What was it that he came here to do or learn?
The old man is touching his heart. And he says compassion. Compassion for your fellow human is a big lesson and prominent theme. Sharing heart space and shining a light is his purpose. Being a light to those who think there are only darkness.
And how is he doing on this so far?
He has ups and downs. Generally, he's doing quite well. He's changing more lives than he thinks. And he touches the souls of people more than he knows. It is his generous and compassionate nature that changes lives.
Okay.
The old man has a warning that he has recently encountered something that caused him to become slightly jaded. The warning is, don't let the hardships and the hurt harden his heart, because his heart is his strongest gift.
Okay. I'm wondering, does this have something to do with his mother?
Perhaps it is a family member. I can't quite make out the exact member, but it is a family, and the pain struck deep.
Okay.
He said words he regrets, and so did this person.
Okay.
He was defensive. What he said he didn't mean.
Okay. I know that there has been some drama around his mother recently, and he has had to, think about his words. And it's possible that there have been times where he didn't use that caution, and that might be, that sounds like what you might be referring to.
The incident had hardened his heart a bit, but he needs to let the grief go.
Okay.
And forgive himself. He does not have to forgive the other, but he must forgive himself.
Okay. Anything else on that?
The old man is pointing to the pond and placing his pointer finger of his right hand to the pond and showing me ripples. He's saying, Dave must forgive himself first, and then forgiveness and acceptance ripples out, and it reaches all things and all people around him. His acceptance of self will bleed over to others, which will cause them to accept themselves as well.
Okay, that's some good advice. Dave wants to know, is he special in any specific way? And I'm not really sure what exactly he might be getting at. I think it's just a very open-ended question.
The old man is stroking his beard and smiling and says, all beings are special because all beings are unique. There are no two beings exactly the same. His energy is unique, and his gifts are unique. His gifts primarily are of the heart.
Okay. Well, you might have already answered the next question. He wants to know, does he have any spiritual gifts? And if so, is he using those gifts properly?
He is naturally an empath, but he's blocking much of that. He blocks it because he has been caught up in self-doubt and worry and anxiety. He worries he is not enough.
Okay. I'm not sure if Dave is familiar with the term empath. Could you explain that a little bit?
An empath is a person who feels what other people feel. Some can see what other people see. Dave has a knack for putting himself in another's shoes to understand their point of view. Not only does he understand with his mind, he understands with his heart.
Okay.
Even if he has never felt what they feel, he understands, because in that moment when he is them, he feels them.
I can see that. All right. Well, Dave's next question is, what is his spirit animal? And he'd like more information. Why is that animal his spirit animal?
The macaw has stepped forward. It's not a macaw, it's a bird. It looks like a cross between a toucan and a macaw. It's a very large parrot, brightly colored. There's blues and reds and orange.
Is it possibly a bird that doesn't exist anymore?
Possibly, yes.
Okay, and that's his spirit animal?
That is his spirit animal. The bird has chosen him because he flies free in his spirit like the bird. He considers all things from all perspectives, much like a bird's point of view. He likes the sense of freedom. He likes the sense of family. He likes the sense of belonging, much like a bird. They fly away, but they always come home.
Okay. Is there any advice on how Dave can use this knowledge that he has this bird as his spirit animal? Should he call on the spirit animal when he needs guidance, or is that automatically given? What role does this spirit animal play in his life?
The spirit animal watches over him and lends him strength and flexibility, but only comes when asked. It's always there as a silent companion, but Dave must ask for active insight.
Okay.
The bird will never intrude on free will, so unless asked, the bird will not offer advice.
Okay. Well, it's good for Dave to know that, so now I think he probably will ask.
The bird says to sit in silence and picture wide open skies and birds flying, and the bird will come to him.
Okay. Is there anything else regarding that?
The bird is showing a nest, and I believe it's symbolic of home. Home, hearth, kin. All things are important to a bird. Bird medicine is powerful because it heals. It heals through flight and senses of freedom. The best place for him to connect is where he feels most at home. Once connected, then he can call on bird wherever, whenever. But initial contact, Dave should be where he feels most at home.
Okay. So, if he feels more comfortable in his actual physical home than out on the road, he should wait until he gets home.
Yes.
To do this meditation and calling on his higher self.
Yes.
Or his guide.
He will get clearer, more meaningful answers.
Okay. Can you tell Dave anything about his karma?
The old man is laughing and wants a more direct question. There are two versions of karma, Eastern and Western. Eastern karma in this particular reality refers to karma incurred in past lifetimes. Western karma refers to debts incurred during this lifetime.
I've never heard that distinction. I think what Dave's getting at is what kind of karma is he supposed to be working through? And is he supposed to be resolving any of it in this lifetime with any of the relationships that he has, like with his family or with me?
He is clearing up communication primarily. In past lifetimes, many past lifetimes, communication has been a running theme. He has hurt people by words, and in this life, he chose compassion to learn the other polarity, to resolve the debts that he incurred.
Okay.
Working on the self is constant karma.
Right.
And in this lifetime, he must learn that he is whole, he is enough, and he is not broken.
Okay.
In this lifetime, he is also working on being humble. In past lifetimes, he was cocky and arrogant.
In more than one lifetime?
3 lifetimes.
Okay. Was he in a position over others, like a wealthy person, or?
He was a noble
Okay.
who thought he was better than the others underneath him.
Because of that, because of money, basically.
He had servants and slaves. He treated them poorly.
Mm-hmm.
In this lifetime, he is learning to be humble and treat all as equal,
Okay.
which has led to the generosity that comes from the heart space.
Okay. Anything else about his past lives and how karma connects to his current life?
He has family ties he is resolving. There are family ancestral karmic ties of being unfulfilled and not enough, of causing hurt and passing on limiting beliefs. He will not break all of those chains in this lifetime, but he has already made a start.
Okay. Can you speak to any karmic connection between Dave and myself in previous lives?
You have had 2 lifetimes together. In the first lifetime, you were brother and sister. In the second life, you were friends.
Was the relationship a positive one in those lifetimes?
Yes, in both it was very positive.
Okay.
You hold no karmic debt between the 2 of you.
Oh, okay.
You have mutually agreed to continue your ties.
Okay. Can you speak to the karmic relationship between Dave and his mother?
They have had many lifetimes and mostly negative. In one lifetime, it was very positive. They were friends and got along well. In the last lifetime, most previous to this current, he was the father and she was the daughter. They fought. She was petulant. They ended up not speaking through the last half of her life. They said mean things to each other. They hurt very deeply. And in the end, they chose not to reconcile. So they came back together in hopes of reconciliation in this lifetime.
That's very interesting.
If Dave chooses to forgive himself, accept himself, he may choose to break the ties and not continue the cycle to the next life. He believes he must be heard and seen by her for these to occur, That is not true. They do not have to see eye to eye. He must come to peace within him, his own being within himself. It does not have to be mutually agreeable, as long as he finds peace in himself.
Okay, I understand that. I think he can understand that.
Dave needs to stop worrying about her actions, her thoughts, and her words. That is not his path. His path is his own. She is her own being. He places too much concern on her and not enough on himself.
Okay. He may have already answered the next question. He wants to know, how is true and lasting inner peace found?
In stillness and acceptance. True inner peace comes from knowing the self. All corners, both dark and light, and accepting. Inner peace, Dave will learn, there is no room for fear and doubt and shame. There is no room for guilt or obligation.
Okay. Dave wants to know, will he ever be wealthy enough to retire? And if so, how will that wealth be attained?
He will have to make many changes. The current path he has chosen, comfort, is a choice. Wealth could be a choice, but it depends on what is wealth to him. Wealth could be richness of life. Wealth could be money. Wealth could be experience. It depends on which wealth he desires.
I'm sure all of those are important to him, but I believe his specific intent was, will he be able to stop working one day and still live fairly comfortably and have his needs met?
The old man is showing a picture. The picture is fuzzy. And the old man is saying it's fuzzy because Dave has no long-term plan. No plan is to come to develop. The old man says, in order to not work, you must find something you love.
So he has to be doing something if he's not out driving his truck.
Yes.
Something meaningful.
In this life, money does not appear. You must put in equal energy exchange. So he must find something that he loves to do, and in exchange, money flows.
Okay.
The old man is laughing and he's pointing to the rock, and he's patting the rock. And then he's rubbing his belly, and he says he likes to eat, but he must go look for food. Food does not come to him. He says the same for Dave. Dave wants joy and comfort and ease. And in order to do that, he must find it. He must create it. It does not just appear.
So I'm not sure how literally to take that. On one hand, it sounds like you're saying that when he's done driving a truck, he needs to find some other form of income. maybe not as demanding, so that he can continue to live in comfort?
Yes. Work is a construct of this reality.
Okay.
Work does not have to be difficult or unenjoyable.
Okay.
The old man says it could be a hobby that he shares with others.
Okay.
Perhaps he could teach others, as he is a good teacher. Perhaps he has a skill that he could share and trade for money. The old man says the catch is he must pick something that brings him joy, because he is settled for this driving, but it does not make him happy.
Okay. I'm not sure if he knows what would make him happy. To do as a living of sorts. I mean, he just doesn't have hobbies.
The old man is pointing to his hands. He has his hands in front of him and wiggling his fingers. Dave needs to find something to do with his hands. Creation of something.
Okay.
In his past, he has been a woodworker.
Yeah. Okay.
He's also been a gardener. He's been a teacher. He has many skills that he could call on.
So he could draw on those experiences.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are work, but they do not feel like work.
Okay. Dave's next question is, why can't he remember large portions of his life?
He's blocked out much of his childhood due to trauma. He has set up walls in his mind to protect himself. He was very young. He was hurt very badly, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. The memories are there. They just have a curtain.
What would happen if he figured out a way to remove the curtain?
He must be ready to face what is behind the curtain. He must be still inside and strong inside. He cannot run in fear, which is why the curtain is there.
Well, Dave has 3 sisters. 2 are older and 1 is younger. And to my knowledge, I mean, they didn't have the ideal childhood, but they don't have big gaps in their memory that I know of.
It was not a sibling, it was a parent.
Something that happened that his sisters were not involved in? Is that what you're saying? Or they were not aware of?
It happened between him and not one, both parents. Separate instances.
Okay.
He was very young. 2, perhaps 3, closer to 2 than 3. An incident with his father. Fear. The smell of fear. His first impression.
Okay.
He was older than that. 4. Not quite 4. A physical incident with his mother. She was angry.
Why would Dave block that? Well, first of all, a lot of people don't remember that young anyway. But why would he block that out? Because other people have, their parents get angry. You know, especially in the 70s and the 60s, parents weren't as enlightened as they are now, and they had tempers. I'm trying to understand why this affected Dave so much that he lost chunks of memory.
Dave was much more sensitive as a child than he is as an adult.
Okay.
He could sense what people were feeling before they felt what they were feeling.
Oh, okay.
So for him to receive the anger, it was double the amount. He felt his fear and the other person's anger at the same time. Large portions of his memory were blocked out because of similar feelings. When other people would approach him in anger, he would feel fear and the same anger, and it would trigger the memory of what he felt when he was a child. It intensified, triple, quadruple. He chose to block it out because it was too intense.
Okay, that makes sense. And it seems connected to what you were saying about him being an empath.
Yes, all of his memory blockages stem from his empathic nature.
Okay. Dave's next question is, what is the day, month, and year that his soul will be called back home?
That cannot be spoken because he has free will choice. He must choose when he is ready to be called home. He could choose today or tomorrow. He could choose in 50 years. Each soul has this gift and ability. When he has learned what he needs to learn and done what he needs to do, he can make the choice to leave. But at the end, it is his choice.
Well, how does that work? Because he has made that decision to go home, and he was not successful.
He chose to stay. The old man says, there is leeway in when you choose to leave. To think of it almost like a staircase. You can go to the very last step and change your mind. But once you make the last step through the doorway, there is no turning back. But up until the doorway, you can choose to turn around and return. Dave went 2 steps close to the doorway and changed his mind. There were still lessons to learn here. He had not resolved all the karma he needed to resolve in this lifetime.
So was the turning back, it wasn't a conscious decision, was it? Because he doesn't remember that. Was it a subconscious decision?
It was his soul's decision. He can remember the choice if he taps into his higher self.
Okay. That brings to mind a question he didn't write down, but I'm wondering, is there any chance that I'll ever be able to hypnotize him?
Perhaps in the distant future, but not in the recent present. Dave has many blocks. He has many trust issues, and that is more subconscious than conscious. His fear of not being in control is so great and overwhelming, it does not allow him to surrender.
Okay, so it was basically fear. It was that fear of letting go and letting his subconscious take over for the session.
Yes.
Okay.
His big fear is a running theme in this life of not being in control.
Okay. His next question is, what is the biggest mistake that he's made in this life?
The old man says it is not appropriate to answer. The old man says that Dave must ask his higher self. It is a very personal response, not meant to be shared with anyone but Dave and his higher self. The old man says if he sits in stillness and pictures himself walking through his navel and in an elevator up his spine, up to the heavens, to meet his higher self. His higher self is willing to show him.
Okay, well, I think those are some steps he can try to follow. So Dave's last question is, he was asking something on behalf of his sister Lori. Lori is missing some, I believe they were diamond earrings. And I think she said that she set them, last time she saw them, they were on top of a dresser, I believe. And then the next time she went to find them, they were gone. Can you tell us what happened to her earrings?
I'm seeing the bottom of a piece of furniture, a nightstand or the dresser. It's not the same furniture that she sets them. It's close to it.
So they may have fallen off and under some furniture?
I'm being shown that they were knocked off by accident.
Okay.
They have dust all over them. They're in somewhere that it's very dirty.
Okay.
The diamond portion is facing the ground. It's not facing up.
So it won't sparkle when she looks under.
No. What I'm being shown is she's looked before, but thought it was dirt.
Okay.
She needs to check again and reach to the back.
And both of the earrings, are they more or less together?
They're not next to each other, but they're in the same place.
When she finds one, she'll be able to find the other?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
She shouldn't use the flashlight this time. She needs to take her hand
Okay.
and actually reach as far under as she can.
Okay.
They're almost by a baseboard.
Okay. We'll certainly pass that on to her. Is there any other information that either Dave's guides or his higher self would like to pass on to Dave today?
The monkey has stepped forth.
What does the monkey have to say?
The monkey says he needs to have more fun in his life. He's very serious. He needs to incorporate more play. That will help his sense of freedom, his sense of joy, and it is through play that he will find his next purpose. The monkey says he's using the word purpose loosely. It's what he will do for the remainder of his lifetime.
Okay. Any guidance on what kind of play?
I'm seeing something with children, not young children, older children, teaching us some kind of skill.
Okay.
It's a workshop setting. I can't make out what the workshop is.
Okay, that's interesting.
The monkey says Dave needs to remind himself how to play and laugh and have fun so that he can teach younger people how to do that.
Can Dave call on the monkey guide
Yes.
when he's trying to develop this attribute?
Yes.
Okay.
Monkey says he can be called on any time. Monkey has been with him since he was a child.
Does the monkey have a particular skill set that it helps Dave with?
The monkey has always helped him learn. Dave has been a fast learner and picks up skills quickly. The monkey has been there to help him process information. But it's about his hands. The monkey helps guides his hands.
Okay. Do any of the spirit guides or the higher self have any further messages for Dave?
There is another guide that is stepping forth. It's more of an ancestor. male.
It's not Dave's father, is it?
My first impression is grandfather.
Okay.
It could be father. Older. Not elderly, but older.
Okay. Dave's father died when he was like 12 or something. So maybe this is grandfather. But in any case, what's the message or guidance?
This person in our timeline, in our current timeline, would be in their 60s, perhaps 70s. He says Dave needs to know they are always with him and he is never alone. Even in the dark, he is not alone. To not be afraid of the things that move that catch his attention over his shoulder.
What are those?
This man is saying they are shadows, not of this timeline.
Okay. So this is something he's seen. I don't think he's mentioned to me, but you're saying that he doesn't need to worry about it.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else? Any other final messages?
The old man, Dave's higher self, says the last thing Dave needs to always remember to live his life as full as possible, to take the opportunities presented before him, analyze them carefully, and choose the best choice for him. Don't spend so much time considering, or opportunity can vanish before his eyes, which has happened before. Pay attention to his gut reactions, his first feelings and first impressions. Trust his intuition more. His intuition does not lie and is never wrong.
Okay. I think Dave's gotten a lot of great advice this session, so I want to express our gratitude to Dave's higher self and to his guides for joining us today. I know that Dave will appreciate it. Next, I would like to ask a couple of questions for myself regarding